I know that there are millions and millions and millions of Canadians who work much harder than any of the dignitaries standing behind this podium.
Did she just say that?
What?
Chrystia Freeland was in Markham, Ontario today talking about low carbon investments, but ended up having to talk about the low opinion Justin Trudeau has of her when she said one of the most shocking things that we have ever heard her say. And that's saying something.
Let's take a look.
Hi, my question is for the Deputy Prime Minister. My name is Amanda Lena Laterio. I'm with Global News. The Prime Minister says he's been trying to recruit for years Mark Carney to run for the Liberals. Have you also spoken with Mr. Carney to encourage him to run for the party, and why or why not?
I actually have known Mark for a very long time. Both of us are from Northern Alberta. And I think Mark is a great Canadian. I am really glad that he has come out as a Liberal, and I'm grateful for any support he can offer our party, our government, and our country.
So have you spoken with him
I speak with Mark often.
about that?
I speak with him often. He's actually my son's godfather.
So, I understand this is an awkward question for Chrystia Freeland, but welcome to politics. You have to answer awkward questions. But I find it very telling that she's asked this question about 5 times in succession. Have you spoken with Mark Carney about the fact that the Prime Minister may want to replace you? Oh, I talk with him often. Have you talked to him about that? I talk with him often. Have you talked with him about that? He's the godfather of my son. Okay, fine. So, I guess the answer is I'm not going to tell you whether I've talked to him about that or not. Doesn't matter if he's the godfather. Doesn't matter if his name's Vito Corleone. Or his son Michael. Or eventually Vincenzo. Like, it doesn't matter. Have you talked to him about that? But I guess we're not going to get the answer to that. But yeah, she doesn't seem to be handling this question very well at all.
Can you tell we've watched the Godfather movies recently?
1 and 2. 3 doesn't exist.
And my follow-up?
I thought that was a follow-up, but go ahead.
Just getting clarity. There have been multiple reports that the Prime Minister's office is questioning your abilities as finance minister. Has Mr. Trudeau raised concerns about your performance with you, and perhaps you can expand?
You know, the Prime Minister's views are really something you should ask the Prime Minister about. But I am really happy to speak for myself and offer my perspective. And my perspective is that Canada is the best country in the world, and Canadians are amazing. And it is a huge privilege for me to serve Canada and Canadians as your finance minister and as your deputy prime minister.
Such a bizarre answer.
And met with applause. Okay, so has the Prime Minister told you sucked, Freeland? And the answer is, Canada's amazing. Canadians are amazing. What? Okay. So it's obvious the 2 ladies behind her are supporters of hers. I don't know if they're on her staff or if they're just, you know, people that are associated with this event. But I don't get it. Why hasn't your staff prepared you properly for these questions? That's my other question.
Maybe they were hoping that she wouldn't get asked these questions.
Maybe they also agree she's doing a terrible job. I don't know. Or maybe they do give her talking points and she ignores them. There's so many possible explanations for why she has such poor talking points. But if she is as competent as we're led that she's supposed to be, because, you know, she has the 2 most important jobs in the government, why isn't she a better speaker? Why doesn't she bring up better points. Why can't she, respond to these properly? Nobody knows. But we're not even to the good stuff yet, folks.
Next question.
Hi there, Mark Rendell with the Globe and Mail. Thanks for taking the question. So following up on the last line of questions, you were with the Prime Minister at events over the weekend. Did you receive assurances from him that you will be staying on as Finance Minister?
Again, the Prime Minister is a very eloquent man and leader, and it's for the Prime Minister to speak for himself. It is true that I had a long conversation with the Prime Minister on Friday. I spent a lot of Saturday with him in Mississauga and Brampton, and I was in Ottawa yesterday at a meeting with him. And I will offer my own perspective. So as I said a minute ago, it really, Canada is so amazing. And I know that Canada and Canadians, we face some big challenges, and we have some amazing opportunities. And I just consider it a real privilege every day to do my best to serve Canada and Canadians, to work on projects like this one.
So was that a yes or no as to whether you had received assurances that you will be continuing as Finance Minister?
I love that she had this super long answer, again, had nothing to do with the question at hand. And then the reporter responds with, so was that a no? Good. I'm glad to see these very direct questions.
Well, and I'm glad she's a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's made us really uncomfortable for the last 9 years.
Again, the Prime Minister is a very eloquent guy, and he is really capable of speaking for himself. I can speak for myself too, though. So let me just add, to serve as minister in a cabinet, you do need the support and confidence of the Prime Minister. That is especially true for the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister. Today is a nice day to be Finance Minister because I'm saying yes to an amazing project. But if you're Finance Minister, as my colleagues here know all too well, you have to say no a lot of the time too. That's how we keep our AAA credit rating.
And do you...
And hang on, let me just finish my answer. And so in order to do my job effectively, in order to serve the amazing people who are here today and the people across the country, I do have to feel that I have that confidence. And so what I will say to everyone here, speaking for myself, is I do have the confidence that I need to do my job effectively.
Okay, so is the strategy just to have everyone around her clap after every answer to make it seem like she answered well? Because that's what it feels like.
I don't even know if it's just make it seem like she answered well. I think it's kind of like, she's doing a good job in general as the Finance Minister. That's what I'm getting. They're kind of pumping her up.
I guess. And again, she's saying, well, this is how we maintain our AAA credit rating. Well,
you guys are, what, $60 billion in the hole for this budget year. I don't even remember how bad it was last year. And you guys have been running a deficit for the last 9 years.
Right?
How is that supposed to protect your credit rating?
Well, and here's the point, everybody. It won't, right? And it doesn't matter. You can't live in a AAA credit rating. You can't eat a AAA credit rating. You can't do anything with a AAA credit rating except stand there and look at it. It's like a piece of art.
Well, when 25% of Canadians are living in poverty, a AAA credit rating doesn't matter.
And I think we will measure how the Finance Minister is doing by the poverty line and not the credit rating.
It's got to be difficult to have your future as Finance Minister subject to questions and public scrutiny out in the open. What is that like for you?
Oh, I spend very little time feeling sorry for myself. I am Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister. I grew up on a farm. I know that there are millions and millions and millions of Canadians who work much harder than any of the dignitaries standing behind this podium.
Did she just say that?
What?
Oh my goodness.
What?
I think I understand the point that she was trying to drive home, but she did it in such a way that it insulted absolutely every single person standing up there, including herself.
But it also insulted every single Canadian, like, in the country. In the country. So basically what she's saying is, I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm the Deputy Prime Minister. I'm the Finance Minister. And
I don't have to work hard for a salary of over 300 grand a year.
Right.
Wow.
Talk about saying the quiet part out loud.
That was so tone deaf.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see what else she said.
Oh, wow.
And who do it for less money and less acclaim. Those are the Canadians I think about every single day. And I am really just focused on serving those Canadians to the best of my ability.
How can you clap for that? How can you clap for that, people?
I would be so angry if I was one of those women standing there.
Well, and the lady over her left shoulder kind of make a, ooh, kind of like a like a face when she said, I'm like, well, that's probably not a great thing to say, Christia. Can you please wrap this up? Oh my goodness.
Yikes.
Hey, everybody that's in this press conference, we don't work as hard as the average people.
But we make a king's ransom on your taxpayer dollars.
Like,
oh, man.
And she even says, and they don't get paid as much as us. Like, what is wrong with you?
So cringe. I think this is probably one of the worst things she said in terms of cringiness. I mean, she said some things that are really malicious that have probably been worse than this, but this, in terms of cringe, is the worst.
Like, I have no words.
The opposition has made one of its top talking points Axe the Tax, aimed at stopping your government's key green initiative, the carbon tax. Would supporting more projects such as this be a better, less polarizing way to get Canada on a greener path?
Thank you for the question. And our answer is we need to do both. The price on pollution actually puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Ontario families. It is revenue neutral. At the same time, I absolutely agree. Our government needs to be energetically supporting projects like this one here at Markham District Energy that are bringing our emissions down. And again, Canadians should be proud of the fact that Canada today has one of the most ambitious national set of tools to support efforts to bring emissions down, probably one of the most ambitious in the world, maybe the most ambitious in the world. And let me just enumerate them, okay? We have the Canada Growth Fund. That is capitalized at $15 billion. It supported the work here. We only set it up last spring, in the spring of 2023. It is up and running and has invested $2 billion. And the Canada Growth Fund knows that if they finish investing their $15 billion and they have more great projects, they will get more support from the federal government, because that is money that comes back to the government. So we have the Canada Growth Fund. We have the Canada Infrastructure Bank, another federal institution that our government put in place to support projects precisely like this one that decarbonize our economy and our communities. And then we have our $93 billion suite of projects, including, and you know, the sort of the spearhead tools to decarbonize are the investment tax credits. Last month was a very big month for Canada because those tax credits were passed into law. And we are seeing them drive major investments into Canada, major decarbonization, like the investment in Dow, like the Honda investment, like the Strathcona CCUS investment. And I just heard from Bruce, he's interested in understanding whether Markham District Energy qualifies for the investment tax credits. And we're happy to talk to you guys about that too.
So the carbon tax program is not revenue neutral. The Taxpayers Federation has told us that it costs $200 million to administrate. It's not exactly what I would call tax neutral.
No. And she's saying we have the most ambitious and the most comprehensive program in the world. Then why were we ranked, what, 67th?
Yeah, Canada is doing really bad at cutting emissions. If that's their goal, they're failing.
And again, 1.6% people. Go to our website, northernperspective.ca. Go to the Canadian Information Hub. You'll see the graph. Like, it just boggles my mind. I think even the climate people are getting annoyed with the Liberals because they see that what they're doing isn't working.
Well, not only is it not working, it's creating bad press for the work that they're trying to do, right?
Right. So you have her unable to answer anything on the carbon tax. She doesn't like. So now it's 8 out of 10 families and not 8 out of 10 Canadians.
8 out of 10 Ontario families. Yeah. I mean, I get that she was in Ontario and that's probably why she was saying it, but still, it seems like every time you hear the Liberals say something, first it was 8 out of 10 Canadians and now it's 8 out of 10 families. So they change their stats to suit what they want to reflect rather than what they actually reflect.
Yeah, and their audience. But I cannot believe even her. She stood up there and said, we don't work as hard as Canadians, yet we get paid a lot more. So therefore, I'm not feeling sorry for myself. What kind of narrative is that?
Yeah, that was pretty awful.
Like, I'm sorry, but if you didn't think Chrystia Freeland was out of touch before, that statement says it all. I'm getting paid a king's ransom, and I don't have to do sugar.